Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Saturday, November 14th, 2020. I did my 10K time trial today because after I signed off from the live stream yesterday, I checked the weather report and it looked like the days of rains flipped. So now Sunday's supposed to be kind of nasty. Hopefully, I can still get out for a run tomorrow, but it's supposed to be nastier than it was supposed to be today. So, last evening, I decided, you know what? We're going to do the 10K time trial today. So we did it this morning. It was cold. It was windy, but I came in at 41:15, 41:16, something like that. So pretty good. I pretty much right around where I thought it would be, a little bit slower than I thought, kind of like where I was optimistically feeling. But given the conditions, I feel pretty good about it. And I'll tell you guys more about it in the video that'll come out. I won't do it tomorrow, but I'll have it come out Monday. So I'll talk a lot more about it there. But let's see how you guys are doing. First, let's say hi to everyone listening on the podcast. Hopefully, you guys are having a good run today. And then hi to everyone listening to this or watching this on YouTube after the fact. Welcome. We've got here Bert Lagas saying hi all. Martha's here. Bert says Remy's active again. Good. Awesome. In case you guys didn't know, Remy was in a car accident. Is that the right word for it? He got hit by a car the other day. Banged up a little bit, and I think overall fine, but scary. So it's good to see. Bert says, great to see Remy active again. That's good to see and good to hear. Scotty B says, howdy y'all. Hope you're doing okay up there, Scotty. I'm sure it's pretty cold up where you are. And Anna says, nice 10K time today, Mike. Looked like tough wind conditions as well. Yeah, I tried to cheat as much as I could. I didn't do a complete tailwind 10K, but I picked a different course last minute. So that way, if I was going to have a headwind, at least I would have a good tailwind too. But I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I just feel let's say if you're doing a 10K out and back, the amount you lose on the headwind doesn't get made up on the tailwind. That's my personal take on it. So it just screws you up, and it screwed me up a little bit today. But thank you very much. All right, let's see. Christian Schoberger says, hey, running club, what's going on? Christian, good to see you. JC is here as well. Awesome. Bert is building up volume again. He really wants to do that 50 miles mud trail run before 2021 starts. Ooh, awesome. That sounds intense. And right now, I can't think about running a 50 miler because right now I'm exhausted. One, the weather is just sleepy weather. It's napping weather today. I almost even convinced the baby to take a nap. I was like, yeah, you want to snuggle and take a nap today? And she was like, maybe I'll just sit down with you for a minute, Dad. And then we sat on the couch. It has the recliner part to it. And it was like, oh, maybe we could take a nap. But she didn't want to take a nap. But it's cold. It's windy. It's raining out. So perfect napping weather. Plus, that 10K really took it out of me today. I didn't think it would. As much as it is. I'm just feeling really fatigued. So I'm just taking it easy today. Got some coffee. Hopefully that'll help me perk up a little bit. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Albert Long says, yo. Chris Yao says, hi everyone. Great day for the group with Remy back at it and Kofuzi's rocket launch. Awesome. Dr. Funk 1216 says, hello everybody. Ran 7 miles in humid conditions. We get a cold front this week. Humid sounds nice right now. I gotta tell you, I'm in here in a hat. I'm wearing a neck gaiter inside. I've got a puffy vest. It's not cold in the house. I'm just a little bit cold and just tired, but humid sounds good. But I'm sure everything's relative. All right. Remy says, good to be back on 10K day, no less. Awesome. Good to see you, Remy. Sean says, cool vest. You're probably more tired because of the cold. Yeah, I think, cold always takes it out of me. And for winter running, I try to have soup for breakfast, after I get back, because I just need to warm from the inside out. When I get cold, I stay cold. And the only way I can recover is if I really make a big effort for it. And I didn't today because I was tired. And so I did a lot of sitting, which wasn't good. I did get the massage gun out. I'm testing a new one this week, and that video will come out a little bit later next week, or this week, later in the week. But I got that out, worked up my legs a little bit on that, but then I just sat on the couch for a lot, and now my back hurts. So like it just, I'm achy all over. So that's, yeah, I should have taken better care of myself. Christian Schoberger had only 30 minutes on the treadmill today, but feeling tired. Oh, I can relate to that. Edges Trail and Road Running says 20 miles today for us. Awesome. Saddleworth near Manchester, UK. Lots and lots of mud on the fells. Cool. That sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. All right, David Prabhu's here. Dokutagarin is here as well. Good to see you again. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Lucas Lulacampos, good to see you again, says, hi guys, check this bizarre run, Kofuzi. Since 2 weeks ago, I ran my first half and broke my 10K PR, 10-mile PR, 15K PR. Wow. Awesome. We got to get a cowbell out for that. That's a lot of PRs. Good work, Lucas. And then he said, broke my 10K PR, 4506, 5K PR, 3K PR, and 2-mile PR. Wow. Awesome. That's a fantastic progress. Great work. Today, I was looking at it on Strava. I thought that this was I wouldn't call it an official PR, but I thought my 41 and change would have been a PR for me, because I thought my last PR was the one that I did in the Mizuno Wave Riders earlier around 4th of July. And, whoa, sorry. Just knocked this cable loose. I knocked that cable out of my headphones, but now they're back. And then it was like 4230, I want to say. And so I thought I'd beat that by a healthy margin today. And I was looking on Strava, and it said it was my second best effort. So I'm thinking I must have run faster during my 2019 Chicago half marathon, because that's my half marathon PR. And I think I came in at like high 127. So that must have been, and I was trying to do the math in my head on the cool down, but you guys know I can't do math in my head very well. And so I think that's where, like, I didn't know that. So I still, when I did the math, I was like, oh, I think I still beat that half marathon time. So I'm not sure. And I couldn't tell from mobile, like, what was my first best time. But I'll have to look at that further. So, yeah. Leona says, great job on 10K time trial, Mike. Thanks, Leona. MJM says, hey, Mike, can you give a tour of the room you're in? Yeah, that's the bed. That is it's like a love seat. It pulls out into a bed, but we don't use it for that. And then that's a door to another bedroom back there. And that's the room. And then down here is a stairwell. So this is like an open area. It's an open stairwell to get downstairs. There's another stairwell behind that other door. That's pretty much it. On the other end of that, this bed, there's a dresser. That's where I keep some of my stuff over there. It's a room. There's a closet right here. It's full of a lot of my wife's stuff from when she was like growing up. So like really old stuff. Like we were talking about yesterday on a live stream, boxes of old like photographs and like birthday cards and stuff. And I think she still has like schoolwork from like elementary school. I think it's all in there. All right. Adam Steve says your web says your best is 4052 from the 2019 Chicago half. All right. Yeah, there we go. I think that I could probably beat that on a nicer weather condition day. But the 2019 Chicago half, I mean, the weather was actually pretty good for the race, but before the race, it was pouring. People were trying to find a place to hide. People were like hiding in porta potties because it was just raining so hard. But for the race, it dried up. But yeah, today's weather conditions were tough. But I mean, today wasn't about setting a PR. I was hoping to, but I mean, today, the whole point of this 10K training program was to test out the Stride training program, and I have some thoughts on it. I'll talk about that in the video for Monday. But yeah, and so I feel like it was, I mean, yeah, so I'm happy with it. All right. Jetril says, wow, woke up early enough to join the stream for the first time. Well, good morning to you, Jetril. Thanks for joining us. Radar Bell. I like Radar Bell, but it's probably Radar Bell. How do you deal with your kneecap pain? Because I think I've had the same problem for about 2 months and it's still there. It's not that hurt, but still bothers when running. The way I dealt with it was, I mean, icing it after, like after a run probably would also help. And then heating pad before I go out probably also help too. But what I did that was different, and I'll make it once I feel like I'm really over it. I mean, I'm 95% over it. But once I feel like I'm completely kicked it, I'm planning on making a video about like exactly what I did. But basically, I started a kind of a leg strength routine, lots of single leg stuff that I did every day, and actually turned that into my warm up. So I would do that before I went for a run, and then I also had like a lot of glute work that I did as well. So those are like the two main things that I did. I reduced intensity and I reduced mileage, and that so like those kind of three things. Yeah. Remy says my non-elite shirt came in, and then I hear about the Path collab tech shirt. Okay, LL. Sorry about that, but thank you. All right. Let's see. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Noah says, just brought the Nike Free RN 5.0, Free Run 5.0 for 15 euros. That's amazingly cheap. 15 euros. That's crazy. Do they still make that shoe? When does that shoe come out? It doesn't. I don't think the new ones come out in the summer. Because I thought I remember seeing like the latest one. I think the 5.0 came out in February, March, something like that. Am I wrong on that? I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. Awesome. But I hope you enjoy it, Noah. Awesome. Dr. Funk 1216 says, what's your experience in Salomon shoes? I ordered the Salomon S-Lab Ultra 3, which doesn't seem to have many videos from reviewers online. Would be the first Salomon shoe for me. Mine is that I think Salomon shoes are for trails that are more intense than I run on, at least for their trail shoes. I ran in the Sense Ride 3 earlier this year, and I just felt like it was always too rigid, too stiff. And I didn't love it. The only time I really liked it was when things were like really messy, or when I was like jumping and hopping over rocks and stuff. So I feel like it's just when I'm on like, you know, hills here, but they're like grassy hills, and when I'm on dirt roads, it might be overkill. At least the Sense Ride 3 was. And then the other Salomon shoe that I ran in was the Predict RA, which was a road shoe. And I just think that it didn't really appeal to me. I mean, maybe because it had a lot of hype behind it, and they were like promising like the most comfortable, most ergonomic, most anatomically correct shoe like ever made. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's kind of what the marketing was for it. And I just was like, this just feels like kind of like a flat shoe to me. Like it didn't feel, there wasn't any pop, there wasn't any spring. I know it's supposed to be like a smoother shoe rather than a poppy shoe, but it just didn't, I didn't get it. And the toe box felt a little bit square. And so far, like Salomon and me aren't really getting along all that much. So I'm thinking maybe next year, I might do there's a shoe that's a little bit less trail than the Sense Ride. I forget what it is. But I think probably that's the one that I might try next year. All right. Now all of a sudden, getting really hot. And that always happens whenever I start the live stream. I don't know if it's just like talking a lot. I don't really do a lot of talking during the day, but talking a lot gets me warmer. So now I'm like sweating a little bit. Justin McClary says, have you ever tried Newton's? I haven't. And that's a shoe that I keep meaning to try. Because Clint Anders, do you guys remember? I don't know if you guys, I mean, this is kind of like old YouTube stuff, but Clint Anders is a runner out of, well, he was out of, I think, Texas at the time, but he's a really fast runner who makes fantastic videos when he does make videos. And he races in a singlet with a cat face on it, like a photograph of a giant photograph of a cat head. And I think he races as like Cat Dad or something like that. Pretty funny, but he loves the Newtons. I forget which one he loves so much, but he really loves them. And now, like when he made a bunch of videos about Newtons, and I was like, maybe I need to try those. And then I just never got around to them. And then Clint kind of stopped making videos. So I've never gotten around to the Newtons. And then like On kind of hit the scene. And then I tried some one On shoe and I didn't love it. And so now I'm like a little bit like wary of like the using like the cushioning kind of system of the Newtons. But I don't know, maybe I'm missing out. CK Soner says, where'd it go? CK Soner says, hey, Ko, you still thawing out? A little bit. Now, I mean, I'm warming up now that I'm chatting and I'm here with you guys. Definitely getting warmer right now. Jay in the long run says, $60 Rincon 1 or a new Rincon 2? I would say the $60 Rincon 1 sounds like a really good deal. Here's the only thing about it, though. I feel like the main difference for the Rincon 1 and the Rincon 2 for me, because the outsole is supposed to be exactly the same. The main difference for me is the fit of the upper. The fit of the upper on the Rincon 1 kind of felt like a racing shoe, like a Hoka racing shoe, which means like really narrow. And then, or like snug fit, very similar to like a Nike running shoe. And so, at least in terms of the narrowness of the toe box area. So that's something that if you like when Hokas are wider, then I would probably bump up to the Rincon 2. But the Rincon 1 at $60, that's an amazing price. I was thinking about it again today because I was eating a late lunch and just and there were a couple of like holiday catalogs that came in the mail. And I think it was like a Kohl's catalog. I think the Kohl's catalog came with the paper. And it's like a toy, mostly toys edition. But there was some like other stuff in there too. And one was like, I was looking at like the athletics stuff that they have in there. And I couldn't recognize any of the shoes on the page. And I was just like, I don't know, maybe I need to review some of those. Like a shoe buying guide for parents, like for like when you're at like Dick's Sporting Goods and like here's the 17 that you might see, like a quick rundown of them all. Or like if you're at Kohl's or if you're at Marshall's and here's some things at like lots of Marshall's. And it's an idea that I've been wanting to do, even though I tend to stay away from it. Because my general advice for people is, don't buy the new cheaper ones. Get the new old ones that are nicer. Like get like last year's flagship shoes, But I was like, realistically speaking, the parent that's buying Nike shoes at Kohl's because of what they saw in like the weekend circular is not going to be like, yeah, these are good, but I'm going to go online and search for last year's Odyssey React. They're going to buy the new shoe with the React that I don't know what it's called. It's not even a Legend React, but it's $65, So I'm like, well, maybe I'm not going to do a full review of them, but maybe I'll buy a whole bunch of them. Like I'll just go to the store one day and buy one of everything and then test them out. I don't know. I feel like that's just going to be a recipe for grumpiness for me. But I think it could be helpful to people. But then again, it's like, how do I even know that the Kohl's in Iowa has a representative sample of what? I mean, is there region? I don't know. Like I remember. I think Macy's had regional buying, but I think a lot of other department stores have more national buying. So I don't even know how it would work. But yeah, so that's just an idea that I've been kicking around. But generally, my advice is, if the current generation of shoes is too expensive, get last year's. Because usually there's still some floating around. Unless you have like a very large foot or like an unusual size, then it's a harder thing to do. Ben Y says, I spent hours today trying to figure out how to fix a corrupt Garmin.fit file from my run this morning. Has that happened to anyone before? I've never tried to do that. I've always like wanted to like crack one of those files open and feel like what's in there. But I don't know how to do any of that. Owen Williams says, hi from Wales. What's the plan for 2021? That's a good question. I don't know. Plan number 1 is survive. Plan number 2 is then hopefully get a vaccine early in the year. Sorry, there was a ladybug that flew on my computer. Number 2 is get a vaccine. And then 3 is to just run a bunch. So that's kind of like as specific as I'm going to get. I was talking to my sister. For you guys, I don't know if you guys remember, but she works for NBC Sports. She works on the Olympics. And so like, I was asking her like, oh, are there still going to be Olympics? What do you guys know to the extent that you can tell me stuff? And she's like, we're still planning for it. So she was like, they're trimming down their team in terms of who they're planning on bringing. They usually bring like everybody, but now the next year, I think they're not going to bring as many people. So that means she's going to have to work even harder. But she's like, but, I made the list, which I'm like, you're like a senior VP. She's like a senior VP of something. I don't remember the title, but she just got a promotion like last March, February, something like that. And so she's like VP of something now. And I'm like, if they don't bring the VP of NBC Sports or a VP of NBC Sports to the Olympics, that's kind of strange. But she was like, I guess it was close, but she's excited. But, I'd love to go and watch the Olympic marathon. I think that'd be pretty fantastic. But who knows if I'll be able to do that? Like, what are the rules of travel going to be from the U.S. to Japan? Going to be like, am I going to want to go? I mean, I'll probably. Is Japan going to want me to go there? That's the bigger question. That kind of thing. All right. Justin McClary said, I had a pair of Newtons back in the 2013 area. Loved them. Felt like they had tons of pop. If you like that, I do like pop. I know it's a little bit artificial, but I kind of like it. I like to feel the shoe, which I know that a lot of people don't like. But yeah, but here's the thing, Justin. That also makes me wonder. Like, but you're not running in Newtons now. Did Newton's like already hit are they on the downhill? Did they already hit their peak and then now like preferences have changed and they haven't been able to keep up? Like I wonder, because I feel like Newtons were a lot. What happened? This camera thing. See, all I had to do was push a button. It's just the app did something weird. It wasn't my camera this time. I wonder. I'm just like, where's Newton at? Now there's a woman out of Florida. She has is it Heather Runs? She runs in Newtons. I don't know if she's sponsored by Newtons, but I think that's the only shoe she runs in. And I don't know what her daughter's situation. I think her daughter's in high school. She's a pretty good runner as well, or an excellent runner as well. I think she runs in Newtons as well. That's like the only person that I know of that runs in Newtons regularly today still. Cameron McBride said, I ran a marathon in Newton gravities and certainly was something. I don't know what that means, Cameron. DD says, it's questionable whether the masses will have a vaccine by the Olympics. Yeah, I know. I think the timeline's going to be tight. It's like, I mean, even if it's relatively widely available, is Japan still going to want to like invite people? Like, will they even have spectators at the Olympics? I don't know. So that'll be unfortunate. If they can't have people. James Baker says, do you listen to music podcast while running? If so, what headphones do you use? I do listen to music and podcasts. Music is usually for workout days. Podcasts or preferably audiobooks is for every other day, like easy runs. So I usually have something in. It's pretty rare that I don't have earbuds in. Generally, the only time I don't is race day. But today for the 10K time trial, I definitely had music in. I don't remember really hearing it. I can remember like one or two songs that played, but like, I like to have it. And for headphones, right now I'm running in, where are they? I just did a review on these guys. The S-Fit from Soul. They remind me of the the Jaybird Vistas. They're like a cheap version of it. They're okay. I made a video about it today. But this morning, what I ran in was the Pamu Quiet. It's a Pamu earbud that has like the pass-through audio. And I think those are kind of my favorite right now. I think if AirPods Pro came in black, that would be my favorite. I'm also still waiting. Does anyone know about the Jabra Elite? Is there going to be an 85T anytime soon? Where's that? I like the Jabra Elite series as well. So those are also really good. So AirPods Pro, Jabra Elite, and right now Pamu. They're weird because you have to buy it on Indiegogo, and I kind of really hate that. But the sound quality is really good, and the pass-through audio or the transparency mode or whatever you want to call it is better than on the AirPods Pro. And I think that's amazing. So I really like that one. Yeah. Leona says, Mike, for your MAF runs or MAF runs, have you ever had the problem of heart rate spiking up to zone 5 every 10 seconds and then back to zone 0 happening for my last 2 runs? I've never had that before. But that kind of weirdness like that sounds to me like you're not getting a solid reading from your heart rate monitor. So I would double check on your equipment. If you're using a wrist-based heart rate monitor, I would consider getting either an armband or a chest heart rate monitor to just have an external one and try that out to see if that kind of takes care of that issue for you. So that's, yeah, that kind of, whenever heart rate gets like really peculiar, my first guess is always like, are we sure the heart rate monitor is working correctly? So that's where I would look first. All right, Roadrunner Review says, according to work, COVID will end January 1st, 2021. Anyone who has had perfect attendance from March to January will get a sweatshirt that reads, I survived COVID-19. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we should all get something, but we want to make it through the next year. Things are getting real bad in Iowa, Let me tell you that. And it is exploding. I remember thinking in Chicago back in like March that it was really peculiar because I was terrified back then. I mean, we didn't know what was going on. And it was like really dissonant because I was like, the way they're describing it, I feel like this should be the beginning of a zombie movie where people are like, you're outside and all of a sudden people are like vomiting on the sidewalk and like coughing up lungs and like just puking up blood into the garbage can, like that kind of thing. And you would go outside and be like, everyone's normal, just wearing a mask, but it's normal. And I was like, but so that's like, it seems really weird to be like terrified of going outside, but also it seems fine out there. But I felt that for like 2 days. And I feel like that again now here. Like, I don't feel it here when I'm like outside running, but like, cause there's no people out when I'm running. But like when I drive through Dubuque, like yesterday we drove down to Dubuque to do the curbside grocery pickup at Walmart. And like the parking lot at Walmart, full. The parking lot at Hy-Vee, full. Target, full. Everything's full. People are still like eating inside. But I'm just like, the case numbers are rising. The hospitals are also full. And I'm like, I'm starting to get really weird about it again. So yeah, it's getting intense here, at least here in Iowa. And you know what? Here, I feel like even North Dakota put a statewide like mask mandate, or they did something, but the governor here won't do anything. Yeah. All right, Justin McClary says, the reason I bought the Newtons back then, I think, what did you say, 2013, was because they were on clearance. The price makes me stay away from them now. Oh, okay. Interesting. I wonder, I guess, are they not going on clearance anymore? I wonder what that's all about. Nazma Akhtar says, hi, I'm Bangladeshi. Welcome, Nazma. Are you like wet cupping therapy? I like wet cupping therapy, coronaviruses. I'm not familiar with what that is. So I'm not familiar with it. JCross45 says, this daily live stream is a treadmill run lifesaver. Thanks for the work and consistency. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Hope you're having a good run out there on your treadmill today. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, Stevie76 HR Legal says, must get COVID-19 vaccine as a requirement for employment/school. Yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what schools do with it, because schools require kids to have vaccinations already all the time, right? But employment, that'll be a little bit trickier, I think, right? I'm not an HR person, so I don't really know. But yeah, that's peculiar. There's going to be a lot of interesting things happening. It'll be weird to see like the people that are kind of like, we're fine, I'm not gonna wear a mask because the vaccine's coming anyway, are also the same people that are like, I'm not really sure if we need vaccines. Like those are the same people, right? They're not necessarily anti-vax, but they're anti-vax curious, And I don't feel like, how's that gonna work for all those people? I don't know. Yeah. Oh, Leona says, in terms of her weird heart rate, she was using her Polar H10, but we need to pick up some gel teas with it. Oh, that could be it. If it's colder out, When it's cold, that's the main reason I switch over to the armband in the winter. Is because when it's cold, I need that conductive gel. It's not expensive, but it just feels weird, to like squirting the gel on your thing and then putting it on. You're like, this is how I get ready for a run. Seems weird, but then I guess I do a lot of weird things. So I guess that wouldn't be like the weirdest thing that I do. DD says, Aftershocks are still my go-to headphones for running. I just got their OpenComm headset for work from home and really like it. Oh, I didn't know they had like a work from home kit. That's interesting. Very comfortable for wearing all day and noise canceling mic for the noisy kids. Oh, I might have to take a look at that. I wasn't aware. Cool. Very cool. CK Stoner says, Cole, if you're training for a race, how strictly do you stick to your schedule? I would say pretty strictly. I don't really like to move things around because when I do a race plan, I usually have 2 to 3 workouts a week. And I feel like if you move a day, it just throws off like the next 3 workouts, And so that kind of bugs me. But at the same time, you want to think about like, one missed workout in the course of a 12-week training program is not like a huge deal, or 14 or 16 week program, not a huge deal. And so better to like, think about the long game, make sure your body can get to the start line. Because what's the point of hitting every workout if you're injured by the time you get there or you're burnt out, So I generally stay pretty close to the schedule though, because that's just more my nature. If there's a plan, I'm going to stick to it. Something that I'm still learning to do is to question plans when I get them, because I generally have the tendency to be like, well, the plan's the plan. You can't argue with the plan. It's written down, like that's kind of how I feel a lot of times. But now I'm, whenever I look at a plan, I'm trying to be like, well, does this plan really fit my strengths and weaknesses and the things that I need to work on to get ready for a race? And, I try to be more collaborative, or the next time I have a coach, I'll probably try to be more collaborative about like, hey, can we talk about this a little bit more? Because I have some questions, that kind of thing. But yeah, but here's the other thing that I do, because I know that I can get too like, just overwhelmed with sticking to the exact plan. I intentionally write very vague plans. I like write the big workouts and then keep like weekly mileage goals, and the rest I let fill in however works well with my life, and like the realities of reality, so that's kind of like my way of dealing with that. All right. Trevor says, around January, he was watching the videos coming from China, and he was, how many zeros? There's no comma in there. I can't see it in my old eyes. 10,000% convinced COVID was going to be a zombie apocalypse. I mean, here's the thing. It still very well could be. I mean, I'm joking, but the vaccine's coming out and 5G is turning on. So, I mean, I think that's how it starts, right? It's not the COVID that starts the zombie apocalypse. It's our response to it plus 5G turning on. That's like how that's how it all blows up. So there's still time for that, Trevor. Yeah. Let's see. Where is that? Oh, Sean Marsh said, wife says she's buying me a Garmin for Christmas. Whoop, whoop. Awesome. That's nice. Very cool. Very cool. And Run Frankfurt says, I'm in Germany and it's 10 p.m. This live stream is a great Audible podcast to listen to in bed. Oh, cool. I didn't know that this also published to Audible. I didn't know that. I use Anchor, and Anchor just pushes it out to lots of places. I know it pushes it out to Spotify and Apple Podcast. Those are the 2 that I normally use. I didn't know it also went to Audible. Awesome. But I'm glad it works. And many people have told me that this is a good podcast to fall asleep to. And I know they mean it as a compliment, but I like to joke. I've been told many times that my talking puts people to sleep. Dan King says in the UK have another countrywide lockdown until the 2nd of December. 1 weekend so far, and people are still denying this is a real thing. Media here saying Christmas is in doubt also. Yeah. I mean, well, I can relate to that scenario here. Like in this county, they finally approved a countywide mask mandate. So if you're in public, like in a public space, you have to have a mask on. Like if you're indoors, you have to have a mask. Like indoors in a business, you have to have a mask on. But at the same time, it doesn't go in effect till Monday. And today, this morning, 7:15 a.m., Dyersville, Iowa, which, granted, is a town. I don't know what the population is. Maybe 10,000. Not 50. It's definitely not 50,000. So somewhere between like 5 and 50,000. It's the next town over. Dyersville, Iowa. I'm driving down Main Street, and there's a barbershop that's open 7:15 a.m. I was like, "Whoa, that's really early." There's a man giving the haircut. I think is probably about my. I was driving and I didn't see too closely, but driving probably about my age, giving a haircut to a man who's much older than me. Neither of them had a mask on, and they're just chatting it up. So like, those are the two things that we got going on over here. So it's crazy. Yesterday in town, we're pretty close to the Catholic Church over here. Yesterday, the church had a giant funeral. There were more cars at the church yesterday. I don't know who passed away, but there were more cars at the church than I've ever seen, even for a Christmas service. And I believe, from what my mother-in-law was saying, I believe they weren't like advertising it, talking about it a lot, but the town gossip is that the decedent, died of COVID. But all the people going into this funeral, half of them weren't wearing masks. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. Sometimes I have a hard time with it. All right, let's get back to some good news. Sean Marshall says, "Wife is buying a garment for Christmas." Whoop, whoop. Awesome. I was thinking more about Garmin's yesterday, and I was looking. Oh, because I was watching Chase the Summit live stream after this live stream yesterday, and I was over and he was talking about Garmin's, and I was like, I still want to review a Garmin before the end of the year, and I was trying to think of which one should I review. I'm leaning heavily towards 945, but then he was like saying the 955 should be coming out any minute. He didn't say it that way, but that's kind of the feeling that I've been having for a while. I was like, shouldn't we get a 955 soon? But then I was like, well, I think it was it? Yeah. Chase the Summit interviewed DC Rainmaker like a couple weeks, or is it 2 weeks ago, last week? And DC Rainmaker was talking about how Garmin updates all their hardware for years. And he's like, people don't give them enough credit for that. And then I was like, I wonder what getting a Garmin Fenix 5 would be like right now. And I looked it up on Amazon. You can get a refurbished one for $250. So I'm like, is that an interesting video to make? I bought a Garmin Fenix 5 in late 2020. Maybe I'll get it like early 2021, so that way at least the number sounds even higher. I don't know. So that's what some of that Garmin stuff. That's where my head's at with Garmin right now. I'm not sure which one to get. Garmin has never reached out to me. I've never reached out to them either, but just, I'm cool with it. All right. Jody says, I used the gel on my Sunto HR and it didn't really work well, but it is humid where I live, so that may be why. I have the OH1 on the way, so hoping that will finally give me a consistent HR reading. You know what? I feel like that Sunto HR is really nice. I don't have it with me. I think I left it in Chicago. But what I like about it is, and I could see if it's humid that it might be kind of weird if you put gel on it. But when I use it, I like it because it's the lightest and smallest HR mark. It's like just the size of like a big coin. It's not that big, and it's really thin and very lightweight. So it's like the least obtrusive chest strap. So I like that one. But I ran with the OH1 today. I like that one. Mark Trujillo, where'd it go? Oh, sorry, wrong one. Where did that Mark Trujillo one go? I missed a lot. Sorry guys. I missed a lot of comments here. I don't know where that Mark Trujillo one went. Sorry about that. About Komudat. Sorry, buddy. Ben Y says, I watched a documentary about 5G conspiracy theorists. Made me think about how easily people are manipulated. Yeah, I was amused and shocked. There was like that town hall, was it somewhere in Florida, where people were like furious at the town, like the city council for like threatening quote unquote to bring in like 5G to the area, and they were like, "Are you guys serious?" People were just yelling at them. It's crazy. Dr. Funk 1216 says, I find it humorous when people say that the government is trying to inject a microchip in you when everyone has a phone that is tracking you and collecting info. That's pretty funny. I like that. Martha says, Kofuzi, when you utter that something is real pizza, that's the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. That's how you knew I got bit, because then something took over my brain, you know. Mr. Random says, hi, Kofuzi, on average, how much film footage do you record during a run? Do you plan sections or do you go on feel? So in terms of planning ahead, I usually have an idea on the route of like certain areas I want to get certain things. A lot of it gets dictated by what the sun is doing. So if there's a nice sunrise, then I'll try to capture a lot of footage with that. And that also limits you in terms of which way you can shoot from, because I don't like having the shadow of the selfie stick or the camera in the shot. So if the sun is rising behind me, I can't get any shots of like behind me, because then the stick will get in the way. So I have to have the camera facing like this way. So that's one thing. So it kind of limits me a little bit. I think about the sunrise more than I do about the locations, because shadows is like a big deal for me. And I would say on average, like a short run or a long run, the number of clips doesn't change. Like there's not a linear correlation. So if I go on a 5-mile run or a 13-mile run, I'll probably end up with the same number of clips, because the way I think of it is, well, I can maybe get people to watch like a minute of B-roll from a run, but just because my run was 13 miles or 26 miles doesn't mean they're going to want to watch that much more B-roll. And so the number of clips kind of stays around the same. I would say I probably get around like 12 to 20 clips per run, and each of the clips lasts anywhere between like 13 and 30 seconds. So that's kind of like how I film. So that's how I do it. Yeah. And then, at this point, it's kind of a lot on feel. The other main thing I think about is what kind of shot did I shoot the last time, and trying to get two of the same shot in a row. Just like to make it just so I have more variety. Kieferfication, who yesterday, I think Chase was having a hard time pronouncing your screen name yesterday, Kiefer. So that's why you changed it to Kiefer today. Says, I heard 5G activates glutes. Maybe. You know what? Here, I was thinking about it today because my back was hurting. Like a different way of thinking about sleepy glutes. Because people say like you need to activate your glutes because they're sleepy. You haven't been using them. I'm thinking about it now as like, I mean, I don't have a bad back, but I'm very like, I guess I have a sensitive back maybe. So if I'm not sitting correctly for a long time, or if I'm sleeping on something that's very soft, my back starts to bother me. But so like I've been sitting a lot on the floor. Like in the morning when I edit my videos, I sit on the floor and I edit the videos from a seated position. Usually kind of like cross-leg, crisscross applesauce, as they call it these days. And if I sit that way for a long time, when I get up, my back's like, ooh, and I'm kind of like creaky a little bit, old man creaky. And sometimes when it's really bad, when you try to get up, like let's say I'm like, I want more coffee, and I get up to get more coffee, I can't like stand up and just walk and get coffee right away. I kind of like leaning over a little bit, or I'm like a little ginger about it as I'm walking through. And I think about the glutes can be the same way. So like, that's how I'm thinking about sleepy glutes, but it's just a different muscle. It's not like the back. And so like you don't feel it that way, but I feel like what must be going on is your stride is affected in the same way. Like when my back is a little bit tight, I'm not like standing up completely straight. And if I'm doing something like that when I'm running, it can affect my gait, it can affect my stride, all sorts of things. So that's how I'm trying to understand sleepy glutes. And then 5G also just wakes it up. That's also true. All right. All right, we already saw that one. Striker 11427. Thoughts on the tempo next percent? I don't think I'm gonna review it. I watched another video today where do you guys watch Chase Easterling? He's a young man. I think he's a freshman in college or a sophomore. I think he's a freshman in college. He was running for Dayton, somewhere in Ohio. I think he transferred schools so he could keep running during coronavirus. I'm not sure exactly what the school situation is, but I was watching his video today and he reviewed them and he was like, I don't think I like these at all. Now, granted, he's running like 8K collegiate men's cross country. So he's running like 8K and shorter. So like, I don't know, people would like it more for marathon training, but he just didn't really like it. Which I thought was surprising because he's a Nike guy. So he loves his Nike stuff. Although I think, well, at least his last team was like Adidas everything. So he was running in a lot of Adidas stuff for a while too, but he didn't like it. But then on the other hand, Ben Parks just put out a video. He just put he put like 400 miles on his pair of Next Percent, which I think is pretty amazing. And he seems to love it. He loved them so much he bought another pair. He's got the Mango. So I don't know. So I think that it's a polarizing shoe. People love it or they hate it. I'm gonna let that one go. I'm not gonna look at that one. Sean Marshall says, "Can we confirm carb loading with pizza and beer last night was effective, guys?" For dinner or after dinner last night, I can confirm that. I think carb loading with beer and pizza is fine as long as you take it easy on the beer. You can go heavy on the pizza and you'll be fine, I think. But I had ice cream and cake after dinner yesterday, and I feel like that was good. And then I had, for my pre-run today, for pre-race, I had like 4 or 5 of these, but I had the strawberry flavor. Remember when I ate a whole bunch of these? I ate like the rest of the strawberry sleeve. And then I had a stroopwafel and coffee while I was driving on the way. And then I had another stroopwafel as a recovery food, quote unquote, afterwards. So yeah, I ate a lot of candy, a lot of sweets the past like 24 hours. Chris Dyke says, I'm faced with the harsh reality that running 5 times per week may not be enough to get faster. For me anyways, everyone is different. Yeah, I mean, it took me a long time to kind of figure out, like, I think that for like 5K, I think I can run like one of those run less to run faster programs. I think that'd be fine. But anything longer than that, I think maybe a lot of it is, for me, I think a lot of it is like not completely mental, but partially mental. Like today when I was out there, I was like, I did not practice this feeling of, I want to say despair, but like this feeling of like, this hurts and there's still more than half this race left. Like I don't have enough of experience with that feeling at different paces. And I feel like for me, a good training plan has got to give me more opportunities to like feel that, And so like I need a lot of days, or I like a lot of days. I guess maybe I don't need them. I'm not sure. But I like to have a lot of days, and I like to have long efforts that are hard enough to make me think about how much I suck. To put it like kind of like very, I need to be able to face that like not mirror, but that like distorted the distortion of like not self insecurity. So I need that. I need more of that in my training plans, and that's not necessarily a physiological thing. But I also feel like, but you know what? I haven't done a lot of training running this long, this hard. So like, I need more training this long, this hard. I'm not saying I have to run like mini time trials like frequently, but I just need to have more of that like bumping up against limits where my body starts to like freak out. That's what I need. All right. Ben Y says, apparently one of the first tweets linking COVID with 5G came from apparently a Chinese account that also posted lots of pro-Russian tweets. Oh, there you go. That would be my guess. Funny. All right. Striker11427 says, what do you think about the difference between the Flynet versus AtomNet? I like both. I love Flynet. When they came out with Vaporwave last year, I was like, cool, I'll try it. It sounds awesome. Sounds like it's better. But I'm also, after running in it for a while, I was like, well, I really liked the Vaporfly 4%. I liked it in Flynet, and I like the Zoomfly Flynet. I like Flynet. And AtomNet seems like a less hot and less stiff version of it. So it still is a strong material. But I know for me, I had a white pair of Vaporfly 4% that I wore with socks that were a little bit low on like a 20-mile run one weekend, and it cut up my ankles. And they were white Flynet that had then blood stains on the ankle for a couple of weeks. So like, I feel like the AtomNet is a little bit gentler on your foot, on your skin. Not that I was running barefoot, but I think it's a little bit easier on you. And the weave seems to have more holes in it. It's not as like tightly woven, so I feel like it's more breathable too. So I like AtomNet. Yeah, Rotor Review says, just got an email wanting me to do a study abroad program in Korea. Cool. My son is stationed there and thought it would be a nice surprise if I did it. That's cool. I've been watching in the morning. I get up really early, and I've been watching a live stream from my internet friend Justin Lovett, and he's living over in Korea now with his wife, and they just had a baby a little while ago, and it's pretty interesting because they're kind of like reverse of me and my wife. His wife is Korean and he's from Wisconsin. But those two, they're both, and so it's a fun live stream to go to because there's like 6 people that go to it. But yeah, so it's been interesting to like see like them talk about their kind of like biracial experience in Korea. Because even though his wife's Korean, I don't know what her parents' situation was, but she grew up in Kenya, I think. And Justin's dad was a missionary, so he grew up all over the world. A lot of time I want to say he spent a lot of time living in Afghanistan growing up. I don't know. So a very worldly couple. Is that the right word? Well-traveled couple. But I've been following them for years. And so, yeah. So I've been thinking a lot about like English speakers in Korea lately. All right. Dee says, it's crazy that just now they're putting a mask mandate in place, Michael. It is crazy. It's the second time they've tried it. The first time it got voted down. Martha says, 5G is even less problematic than microwave ovens, scientifically. Yeah, but remember, though, for a long time, people thought that cell phones, and maybe they do, but I don't think that they do. Remember that people thought for sure that cell phones were going to give us all brain cancer? And then they used to sell things on TV. You would put it in between like the battery and the phone, and then close your phone, and it was supposed to block all the brain cancer inducing things. Do you guys remember that? And it also improved your cell signal at the same time. I had that. I bought it before, and I put it in one of my Nokia phones. It did help with cell signal. Whether it helped prevent brain cancer, I can't say. I haven't done the longitudinal study on it. Yeah. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. Sorry about that. Let's see. Someone was asking, what's the name of the channel that you watch? I forget what the name of their channel is. I think it's just Justin Lovett, Lovett. He made a fascinating video because he went to North Korea once, and he was able to film while he was over there. And I was like, wow, how'd you get over there? I was like, I think if I went over there, I think that I would end up getting arrested at some point. Because there is a North Korean marathon, and there are international runners that go there. Sorry, it's getting dark in here. There is international runners that get invited, but let's see, why is this not getting brighter? There. But every year, the North Koreans always win. Not that I would go there and try to win it or be able to win it even. But I was like, that'd be kind of a fascinating race to run a marathon in North Korea. But then I was like, I probably should just run one in Seoul first. That probably would make more sense. Yeah. Let's see. Dr. Funk 1216 says, by the way, my favorite Kofuzi video was one of your Chicago marathons when you were charging to the finish line and your theme song drops. I miss races. Yeah, that was a good one. Thank you. I miss races too. I was definitely feeling it today when I was trying to finish the last, and I switched my watch to kilometers today. So I was at 9.75 kilometers left. And then I was 9.8. And I was like, if this was a regular race, I'd be in the chute right now or near it. And that would be really invigorating. But instead, I'm slowing down more and more, or I'm slower and slower as I go. So I was like, I wish this was a real race. So I definitely understand what you mean, Dr. Funk. All right. Fawad138 says, is running longer distances every other day as effective as shorter distances every day? Yeah, I mean, it depends on what and how hard you're running those days. So I think there's a lot. It's not quite as easy as long, short. I think the relevant is easy, hard, right? And one of the things that I subscribe to is the 80-20 principle. So 80% of your running should be really, really easy, and 20% of your running should be pretty intense throughout the course of a week, for example. And so what a lot of people end up doing is running medium hard every day, and it feels good to do that. And I did that for a really long time. And I improved quite a bit in doing that. But, after a while you plateau, and then you start to look at other ways of trying to increase different aspects of your body strength. So it's not as, I think long versus short isn't necessarily the right way to look at it. But that's not the way I look at it. All right, let's do one more, and then I'm going to get going for today. All right. This is a great one. Chris Dyke says, putting up the tree today, folks, come at me. No, I think that's awesome, Chris. On a regular year, my wife and I would be putting up the Christmas tree either this weekend or probably next weekend. Usually the weekend before Thanksgiving is when we put up our tree. We have a fake tree, so it doesn't matter when we put it up or whatever, but we like to have it up. We realized it works out better for us if we put it up the week before Thanksgiving, because we travel usually here for Thanksgiving, and then December is always a blur. And then we're also usually going to visit my sister and my parents around the holidays as well. And so we don't get a lot of chance to enjoy the tree if we wait till after Thanksgiving. And so we normally put up early. And I feel like if there's ever a year where we could have a little extra Christmas cheer or Christmas spirit, maybe a week or two early, it's this year. So Chris, good on you. I back it 100%. My mother-in-law has been watching Christmas movies on the Hallmark Channel for the last month already. And so has my father-in-law, and so have I. So I'm totally down for it. I'm Candace Cameroned out pretty much already, but I'll probably wait a couple more days. I'm ready for Elf. This evening might be an Elf movie night. So we'll see. That's where I'm at. But I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one as well. All right. Tomorrow morning, guys, I'm not going to do a video, but we'll do another live stream. So same time, 3 p.m. Central Time here on YouTube. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.